All right, welcome to the WazaMedia podcast. WazaMedia is a digital marketing agency that believes in the power of storytelling. We show businesses and individuals how to communicate with laser focus in this media-saturated world. Welcome. I'm Andrew Milner, and I have my partner in crime, J.R. Arce, with me. How are you doing?
Doing good, Andrew. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we're continuing our talk based on the Forbes article, Digital Media Marketing Trends for 2021. And we do have the link in the description. So you can go check that out if you want to see the whole article. But if you missed our previous episode, this is a continuation of that discussion of that article and the thoughts that it provides. So you might want to click back to the previous episode if you want to stay with it, the continuity of it. But if not, trudge forward with us, and we're gonna highlight some new things. But what we did talk about in the last episode was digital businesses pivots that became permanent. So when we say pivots that had to happen, or changes that had to happen because of COVID, some of those things are going to continue for various reasons. One of which is that it had a better ROI. You know, so we're looking at some of the good things that came out of those changes. And last episode, we also talked about social media being more of a big player in e-commerce and channels for purchases. Also, informed buyers wanting to buy from informed brands. So brands that are more aware of what's going on in the culture, more with the times and the current trends. It adds a layer of credibility and connectability as well. So this one, though, we're going to head to that part of the article that was talking about virtual events. A lot of them happened because of necessity, but now, again, like I said earlier, that ROI, that return on investment, it looks to be good for a lot of online events. And so we should definitely look to see some of those stay. And so for the audience, for you, we're kind of helping you ask that question. Do your events need to continue online because of a better ROI? And that brings up the question, have you even assessed your ROI and how that's going? JR, but when we were kind of in our prep talk, you highlighted that this kind of brings up that what we talked about in previous episode of just kind of like thinking about how things are going and our assessments. So if you haven't checked that episode out, go do that. But what are your thoughts? Have you attended any events that you go, I'm kind of glad this was online? What's an example from your perspective?
Well, I'm sure most of us have been accustomed to Zoom. And one of the things I enjoyed last year, which I think will be continuing going on this year, is that there's awesome features with these web conferencing platforms. One thing I learned last year is that Zoom has a breakout session feature where you have a main room, everyone comes in together, and then there's someone in the background that who's the host, can split people up into different breakout rooms. And so that is a cool feature, especially if you're trying to do networking events in your area. You get everyone together for a keynote speaker. And then when the time comes, you can split people up by their interests, and then you can bring them back in together. So I think breakout rooms help bring a different part to the whole webcam conferencing and virtual event. And then the other thing that I enjoyed seeing a lot in the last year was more live streaming. Whether you're on Twitch or you're on YouTube or you're using other platforms or even on Facebook, live streaming has been I've seen a lot of it. And even though I'm not very particular about having something else ping me for my time, I'm a huge YouTuber and Netflixer where I want to dictate my time. But if it's something that I'm interested in, whether if it's a commenter on gear, or if it's related to the news and it's a commentator that I like, I make sure I hit the likes and subscribe button and I hit the notification bell. So when that particular person comes up and is about to go live, I'm interested. So that grabs my attention. I want to hear what they're talking about. And so With our businesses and the brands that we work with, this can be a potential way for you to connect with your audience in 2020.
Absolutely. And you know, the cool thing is that for a lot of things, Zoom is free. You know, for a lot of the smaller things that you need to do, it's only really if you have to get those bigger productions or lengthier ones, do you actually have to pay for the. And even if you have to pay, it's not too expensive, especially if you're going bigger. The return on investment is probably there. Um, a lot of people may not be aware, but you know, uh, there's a heavy competition for the space of being um, the go-to video platform right now. So make sure you're not just settling for one or the other. Like take advantage of the competition and look at what's available out there as far as which one is right for your needs. And feel free to hit us up with your questions if you want to tell us what your situation is. We might have a recommendation for you. So yeah, I would agree. You know, because hopping on a plane or even hopping in a car is not necessary all the time. So why not take advantage? You know, there's quite a few positives. One, we can all just stay in our PJs. No, that's not what I meant. We can cut down on our carbon emissions is one thing. Don't have to travel as much, but also uh, we're getting together, and the budgets are also the restrictor. Any other thoughts on some of the benefits of having those online events?
Of course, the main reason why to have these events is, of course, of safety. So you can decrease your risk of exposure to the current virus that's going on, um, but it still allows you to remain in contact with your customers. I will say, Andrew, I've actually bought more pairs of sweatpants uh, because they're so comfortable, and I can work from home, and it's been a while since I wore my suit, and I know I've been working out, and it may still fit me, but my sweatpants are very comfortable. I will just leave it at that.
Nothing wrong with that. Um, yeah, so I know we all look forward to those times when we can get together physically, and I would say do it when you can safely, but it is nice. We are blessed to have other options. I mean, all you have to do is pause for a minute and take away all our digital technology in your mind for year 2020, and it's a lot lonelier if we didn't have these options. All right, so now we're going to pivot to the another thing that was mentioned in the article, and that's culling social media channels. And so many companies are starting to reduce the number of social media channels, or even kind of like I would lump in with this marketing channels in general, just places where you're spending your time and your effort seeking a customer base and communicating with your customer base, because it's the all or nothing is not the right strategy. It's the you just don't have the time for it, and it's going to continue to be worse as we move forward. There's going to be more platforms, more options. You just need to figure out what is the best for your situation. Case in point, for us, you know, we're simply engaging on Instagram, you know, this podcast on YouTube, and now we're taking the podcast in multiple avenues, but essentially podcast, you know, our Instagram, some Twitter. Um, we aren't really on any of the smaller ones that have cropped up quite yet. They just haven't seemed like they would have a good ROI for our use case, and so that's what everybody needs to do. What are some other things that you are thinking are important for, as far as like culling social media channels and keeping things prioritized?
Andrew, in our first episode for this year, we talked about things that businesses could do in the first year, in the first month of this brand new year, and one of the things was going evaluating your strategy plan, and evaluation was a big part. And so if you're looking at all of your channels and you're finding out what worked and what didn't work, uh, it may be time to cut off some of the channels where it didn't work very well. But if you found some of these other distribution avenues of marketing that really worked, it may be time to double down on those and just cut the ones that didn't work at all. Maybe for your audience, Snapchat's not the right place. So you might want to cut Snapchat out and realize that maybe mailers were more appropriate for your business. You know, but it takes the work to kind of analyze the data and to see where it goes. And sometimes um, less is more
Absolutely.
when it comes. The and you talked about different platforms, Andrew, and one of the ones that I'm looking into, I'm still experimenting with, that's become quite the rage lately, is Clubhouse. Clubhouse is an app where you go into virtual rooms and it's audio only. And so they have different silos set up by category, age, or however, and people can create all these different rooms. It's still fairly new. I think it's less than a month old. I
Wow.
just got an invite, so I'm still dabbling it to see how it works and going from there.
Yeah, and this category in particular, it's highlighting the whole putting value on your time. If you know you're not getting a return on the efforts and the time it takes in a particular social media channel or marketing method, it's not just that you're spending money there. Maybe you're not spending money there, but you are spending time. Regardless, you're spending something, and is it worth it? So ask those questions and see if it's worth it to you. Yeah. So we wow, we've barreled through those topics already, but we just want to continue to encourage you. If you've got a specific situation or something that's specific to your nonprofit or your company, we love fielding those questions, brainstorming them out. So feel free to hit us up on whatever platform you're on and reach out. I would say, if I were to put out the best, probably Facebook or emailing us would probably be the better quickest methods. Because again, in the prioritization of our time, we're not always going to respond, say, as quickly on other things. So, any final thoughts or words there, JR?
2020 has really shown our small businesses and even ourselves as a company on what works and what doesn't. 2021 is going to continue to challenge us and how we communicate with our audience and our customer base. And so the biggest thing is adapt, overcome, but you can't do any of that without a plan. And if you need a plan, we're here to help you out. So make sure you hit us up on our website. Just contact us, and we'll be happy to guide you through all of this.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for joining us again for another podcast. We enjoy it, and we also enjoy your thoughts and your feedback. So let us know how it's going, and if you have any requests for a topic, we'll try to get to that as well.
Thanks for watching our video. If you want to learn more about WazaMedia, go to our main channel over here. And if you want to see more podcast episodes, go over here. See you next time.